Sportsnet Lakers. I'm Allie Clifton, joined by your Lakers insider Mike Bresnahan from his home. Lakers reporter Mike Trudell. Some news today. Alex Caruso did not travel with the team to San Antonio as he's still in the league's health and safety protocols. Packed show, guys, so let's get right into it. More on AC Fresh in just a minute. After coming off some lights-out shooting against the Timberwolves Sunday, LA fell short offensively and defensively last night. Damian Lillard had 31. The Lakers allowed Gary Trent Jr. to go off for 7 three-pointers, tying his career high. The other big takeaway was Anthony Davis's struggles.
I just think we didn't do a good enough job making sure he was involved in the offense in the first half. We just got to do a bit better job of that. But certainly a little bit better in the second half. Just one of those nights we were kind of stuck in mud a little bit. I don't know if because we played last night or whatever. But after, like I said, after we came out strong to start out of the gates. Just had trouble sustaining that energy and intensity.
We always got to do a better job of finding him, looking for him, and that's on us.
Anytime you take a game off, I don't want to try to force my way back into the rhythm. The team played well last night, and I just tried to fit in. Knowing that the focus is going to be on me. With Covington guarding and trying to double team and things like that. So just trying to make the right plays and the right reads. I like the shots I got early on, went in and out. But just, have to be more aggressive to start the game. But overall, the Cavs was fine. Now, I know anytime I got the ball, they were trying to double team, and I was just trying to make the right plays. Guys made shots. But, I got up to a slow start, but, at the end of the day, I can't let that affect how, I continue to play, and I just got to be able to score the ball.
Now, more on AD, in a moment. But first, let's talk the loss itself. The two previous games, guys, on Christmas Day, the Mavericks were without Kristaps Porzingis. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves, they come to town. They're without their superstar and Karl Anthony Towns. So Portland comes to town, yes, without Carmelo Anthony, but they had their stars in the lineup. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. You would have thought, Mike Trudell, it was a good test for the Lakers to see where they were at, and they came up a bit short. Found ways they needed to be better.
Yeah, obviously the only real reason that they lost was that Caruso didn't play. So, end of show. There we go. I'm glad that we figured it out, guys. It's been nice joining you tonight. I'm going to get back to it here at the house. No, so I think that there are a couple of things going on here, and we kind of saw the main element of it, though, I thought, Allie, in Anthony Davis's comments after the game, where he said that he was just trying to fit in early. And this is one of the 5 best basketball players in the world. He doesn't ever have to worry about fitting in. I don't think LeBron James ever wants him to fit in. I don't think Frank Vogel wants that. They say, AD, you take as many shots as you want. You can have the ball as much as you want in the post, on the whatever. You are Anthony Davis, and you should be able to be aggressive and not feel like you have to fit in because you didn't play the night before. And to me, Brez, it almost speaks more to just the mindset that AD has had with the shortened offseason. Mm-hmm. He's mentioned that several times, right? When any of the three of us are on Zoom calls with AD, he always seems to be talking about that. And I think at some point he's really going to kick into that extra gear that we saw. And maybe it hasn't happened just yet. So nothing to worry about long-term for the Lakers. I just think that clearly there's more that AD can do, and it will come in time.
Well, and then you also take from Anthony Davis to the bench, something that they take a lot of pride in, their depth, though it is early. Guys, you look at that box score last night, all Laker bench players, plus minus, they were in the minus. When you have a bench and you take pride in the bench the way you do, you really want that to be balanced, Russ.
Yeah, before that game, they were leading the league in bench scoring, almost 55 points a game. That is impressive. So, yeah, a step back for the team and for the second unit in particular. A couple things happened. I think Montrezl Harrell kind of got lost in the shuffle. The first 2 or 3 of the first games, he was a big part of the offense. Guys kind of look for him, flashing through the lane. But last night, he was kind of the master of, I got to create my own shot, whether it's on putbacks or just kind of trying to set a screen and hoping the guy finds me. I think he got lost in the shuffle. And Kyle Kuzma as well, coming off the bench, his hot streak ended. Was he 2 for 8 from three-point range, 2 for 9? It was not a good night for him shooting. And it had been. He was over 60% from behind the arc in the first few games. That kind of regressed to the mean a little bit last night.
All right, let's go from the team now back to your main point, because it was what stuck out the most, Mike Trudell, with Anthony Davis. And after what you said, you look at his numbers, just 6 for 14 from the floor, 5 for 10 in the paint, scored a season low 13 points. I want to take it one step further in terms of what he said post-game about just wanting to fit in. Do you think this is something with a guy like Anthony, who is such a team guy, who he's so humble, the humility is there, doesn't want to, step on anyone's toes per se, that it's going to happen organically? Or is this a guy that conversations need to be had? How do we not have nights like this from Anthony Davis again?
Yeah, I don't know if it's conversations that need to be had, because there's plenty of game tape from AD, basically every playoff game, where he didn't look to fit in at all. I mean, he put up 30 points per game against Portland in round 1 of the postseason on 60% field goals. He's blocking shots, he's rebounding, he's passing the ball. Like he did it all. He showed us what he was capable of in the postseason. And I think for many of us, we expected that he could take that up even an extra tick and really be a true MVP candidate, which again is still possible. He just has to shift into that kind of get ready for the season, preseason mode. Again, he's only played 3 games. He only played in 2 preseason games. They've barely practiced. So I just think that AD is warming up. He's getting into his flow, and it will come. But to me, it's not a mental thing, because we just saw this the whole entire last season with LeBron James on his team, by the way. If there's ever a time where you can kind of just look to fit in, it could be when you have the best player in the world on your team. But AD knows that he didn't have to do that last season.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. AD was kind of like Montrezl Harrell, almost a forgotten part of the offense, especially in that first half. He took only 4 shots. So I like what he and Frank Vogel said afterwards. Frank Vogel said, yeah, I need to work on ways to get him in spots where he's more comfortable. And AD, after the game, kind of suggested, yeah, I need to be a little more assertive. Like Mike said earlier, he didn't want to disrupt the flow. This team had averaged over 130 points in its previous 2 games, one of which was without AD. So maybe he regressed or deferred is a better word, a little bit too much to the flow that he had seen in the previous game.
Best thing about the next game when it comes to Anthony Davis? After nights like this, he always usually has a pretty dominating bounce-back performance. So it's something to look forward to for sure. Tonight, the Lakers will be doing something they haven't done all season, spending the night in a hotel. Their first road trip of the young season tips off tomorrow night with the first of 2 against the Spurs. And then next Sunday and Tuesday, the Lakers face the Grizzlies, who will be without Ja Morant. LeBron on the challenges ahead being on the road.
Well, it's going to be different. It's going to be very challenging just to hit the road. Which we haven't done much. I mean, obviously the Phoenix trip, but, it was a preseason game. You didn't want to put too much into it, but, now this is the kind of, it's the real deal where all the games count. So it's going to be very different, we believe, going down to Texas and then headed to Tennessee. We'll see what, counties are, what's the rules and regulations in certain counties compared to ours. But more importantly, just trying to stay safe, stay healthy, so we can be available for the games. Go out and play our game, go out and play Laker basketball and see what goes from there.
As we know, this pandemic has brought unpredictability. Alex Caruso didn't travel with the team due to COVID protocol. Lakers are deep, but this will have a big impact. Mike Trudell, how do you anticipate the team handle being on the road this long during a pandemic?
Well, first of all, just thinking of LeBron, 29, 9, and 6 last night in year 18 on a back-to-back, it just keeps going with him. And I feel like it always deserves mention, even if we don't. And I'm sure Allie will get to that more for the rest of the show. But yeah, as he alluded to, it's just such a different world. And take out all of the COVID protocol and all that. How about just playing a team twice in a row in their gym, almost like a mini playoff series? I think that probably favors the road team, at least to an extent. With that said, there's no home court advantage. I mean, I've been at Staples Center for these home games, and it's not like the home team is going to get a big boost from their crowd, which is not there. And it's also with the travel, these guys are just in their hotel rooms getting rest. There's no getting out and going out around, gallivanting around the country or anything like that. Although, again, some guys play just fine like that. So it's just a unique thing. And I guess what I would want to have in those situations would be LeBron to get back to the person that we just saw speaking about it. Because even though nobody has gone through all this, he's been through every other thing that you can go through as an NBA player, and he should be a good leader in that sense for this 4-game stretch.
Yeah, as far as Caruso, I think guys like Wesley Matthews and Talen Horton-Tucker, those are the guys who are going to have to step up on that second unit to kind of help, defray his loss. Caruso, obviously a tenacious defender for sure. And as far as the team, I mean, they're going to have to realize, look, we're not in L.A. anymore. L.A. is one of the most restrictive cities in the entire country as far as COVID protocol. You're going to be in Texas. Eventually, you're going to be in Florida. You're going to be in the upper Midwest eventually, you know, Cleveland, Milwaukee, places that just don't have the tight restrictions that L.A. County does. So I think that the coaches, the players, the staffers, they're going to have to probably talk about it if they haven't already. Look, we're not in L.A. anymore. Kind of try to keep the mindset of you are still at home in a very tightly restricted, almost a bubble-like environment, because that worked out pretty well for the Lakers.
Yeah, it did. And guys, when you think about it, outside of COVID and the why they are doing it, it's a very unique kind of schedule. I mean, Mike, when you talked about it, you just mentioned moments ago, it's kind of like a mini playoff series. What's not to like about that? I think sometimes being able to put your print down, your footprints down in a city longer than 24 hours, 36 hours, can be beneficial.
You can actually unpack your suitcase, although it depends who you ask. I am somebody that if I'm only there for like one day, it's definitely staying in the suitcase. But if you get me there for 3 days, I might hang some up in the closet, right? Maybe get the shoes out, maybe put them in the bathroom. So, it depends who you are, though.
Yeah, Mike, Ali, this is almost like a baseball schedule. You're in a city for 3 or 4 days, just kind of waiting for these games to be played. So, yeah, it's going to be an adjustment. I think the NBA is smart. They're doing this a lot, not just with the Lakers, but other teams around the league. If, say, Milwaukee or Charlotte comes out west, you can guarantee they will play the Lakers and the Clippers within a day or two of each other. Trying to get, Sacramento and Golden State, same type of thing. If an East team comes out here, they're going to presumably hit those two teams one right after the other. And this is the Lakers example of that. 2 games in San Antonio, 2 games in Memphis. Why not? Smart move by the league. By
the way, I would be unpacking every single time, but I am one of those that unpacks even less than 24 hours in a city. That is totally me. Get in, unpack everything, make myself at home just to pack it back up.
I understand.
Here we are.
You need more time for pop culture stuff, right?